Hi everyone. So I came up with an idea because, well, I think it's already invented, and basically, it's just like a heat knife powered with electricity to be able to cut more easier or easily. And I was using that. Well, I turned on the heat gun and I heated up the roof shingle fabric. And it's not that difficult to cut, but I noticed that with the heat and hit the metal, acting as a great conductor of the heat. So a lot of the heat got retained within the metal, and I was able to easily cut that material. So I think that would be super cool for people that are working on roofs, especially like in the cold months. Um, or for like more detailed work, cutting plastics, bunch of stuff. Um, um, yeah, because it'll be very difficult to cut through plastic with just a razor, right? Or even an X-Acto knife. I have some X-Acto knives. So if somehow electricity was able to get in there to heat up the blade, then people will be able to cut more easily without, even if the blade is kind of dull or whatever. And it will be basically like the glue gun. So I have a glue gun, and the great thing about this one is that I was able to purchase this at the Dollar Tree, and I used it for the crayon project, but it heats this up, so it'll be the same concept with the X-Acto knife. And this. So instead of this, it'll be like this with it connected with electricity. Maybe a button, and the heat will be right here. And when people open it, like this or whatever, and obviously you won't be able to touch it or you'll burn yourself. But with some, like these tools here, these little things, you'll be able to grip that and then put that somewhere and then get a new one and put it on there to exchange them if needed. Then you'll be able to tie that up. And this, I used it for something and I even burned it. That's why it's like that. I don't know if it was like on the candle. But yeah. So you guys can just imagine this here, this whole unit costs $1. With the plug, it's TY-G 1001 10 watt 120 volt 6 Horts 60 Horts glue gun E245073 listed to 24 UV. All that information is right there. So as soon as I plug this in, it heats this up immediately. The trigger actually is not even required. It's only to activate this in the back, that to feed the glue stick through the chamber. So it technically doesn't even require that. So yeah, like somehow even if someone can alter this pointy thing and just adding something like this, and all it is a screw on. Just go like this, and it allows you to remove this and put a new one. And I'm basically doing all this with one hand, so bear with me. And then once you tighten it, this will turn super red, and like even if you touch it, it will cut through your finger. It will just melt through your finger. So this would be for grown people, adults, obviously, that are responsible and that are not afraid to lose a finger. Because if this thing burns you and cuts your finger off, and it's likely to happen, that's why it will be sold specifically to adults who would like to use that for whatever reasons. But like even like this, there's some tools to cut plastic. Like there's the little thing with the little engine with the disc. Bzzz. So that would work as well. But even the disc can have a heat source, to do other stuff with. But I thought about that when I was cutting that roof shingle, and talking about the roof shingle, I wanted to share some ideas with all of you. I'm just going to find a list of some instructions that my friend can print it out, and these instructions will give you some instructions on how to lay out the tile, I mean, not the tiles, but the shingles correctly on for the roof. So okay. So I basically did the math, but I believe that it should have something like this. See, because this, you can download it. This is Malarkey Laminate Shingle Installation Instructions. Right there at the bottom. Okay. So what I did is I made a graph. And I actually measured. So it was like 39 inches to 40 inches each shingle, the strip. The starter shingle, you started off negative 6 inches. So I could have that offset at the bottom. This one, the full is a full one. First one is a full one, which is 39 to 40. And then this one, the second one, is negative 8 inches. The third one, negative 16. The fourth one, negative 24. The fifth one, negative 35. So if you were to calculate each one and put the number over here, then you have, kind of like a better reference of what you're doing. So if you measure it and it's 39 and you deduct 8 inches, it'll leave you at 31. So basically, it'll take away 8 inches and leave you with a strip of 31 inches. And my pen stopped working. Okay. So yeah, so it'll leave you at 31. The third one is negative 16. So that's 323. So I'll leave you at 23 inches. And so on and so forth, right? 24, 5, 15 inches. And then finally, but not least, the last one is at 32. And there's 39. So if you deduct 2 from the 9, you'll be left with 7 inches. Since it's 39, and then take away 2, you're left at 7 inches. So something like this. The first one is a full one. The next one, you're deducting 8, deducting 16, deducting 24, deducting 32. And then over here, it basically points out how much or how big each strip is. So right here, the first one is 39. The second one is 32. The third one is 23. The fourth one is at 15. And the fifth one is at 7 inches. And I think I'm doing this correctly. I might have measured wrong, and if so, then it's at 40. If so, you would just add 1 digit to each of these. And that will make everything correct. If I measured the full sheet correctly. So, because this is, I believe, something that someone has to do when they're trying to figure out all of this stuff. Because they have to measure the full length of a shingle. You know, even if it's left blank, where they can, if there's a number there, they can cross it out and put their own number. Say full length for them is at 35 inches. Then they could cross out the 40 or the 39, whatever, and put their own number, and then calculate from that point on to make their own graph. But other than that, I didn't really have a lot of trouble with it. And for the shed or for the house, and it's simple, especially if you have a lot of razor blades. But a pack of razor blades can cost you $25. So if you have a heat gun, a heat source with electricity, you could probably do the whole home with only one blade. So something to really consider and think about. And you would be dealing with an extension cord, unless you can get a battery operated heat gun. And I don't know how much like of a battery, the voltage of a battery would be required to be able to complete a home entirely. But yeah, I mean, I think it's a simple, just rigging that up and, making that little attachment in the front where you're making it electrical. And if you don't want it to be, powered, if you want it to be cordless, then you would have to add something for the battery, or having an extension cord from the battery and making an extension cord 6 feet at least, so you can put the battery somewhere and then work with that. Or having like the drill and having a big battery, with the little fucking pencil to make it very, very hot. But yeah, I mean, it's either that or you guys can simply take this apart. So let me see if I could do that for you guys, so you guys can kind of see what I'm talking about here. Whoa. Okay. Whoa, look what happened. My candle thing fell. Sweet. Anyway, so it's kind of difficult for me to like hold my phone to do this, but hopefully that'll stay. Okay, that didn't stay. That sucks. Hopefully it'll stay this time. Okay. So it would just be a matter of connecting these heat wires up together somehow to that blade thing, or somehow attaching that over here, because and obviously this is not connected. You know, and this here is for the trigger. So this goes like this. Well, yeah, see, so it's a very simple hack, and anyone can rig this up and make it work by connecting this and really looking into it and making it work for that X-Acto knife. And like I said, this thing right here was only $1. So you can technically buy a bunch of these and make it work. And have that heat source. See, and it still works. So basically all this is doing is heating up this wand, this piece of metal here. And that is what is heating up that glue stick when it is fed through the back end of it through here. And then obviously you guys all know how it works, and you can't touch this. So yeah, all you guys would have to do is somehow connect this to the X-Acto blade, and you'll have yourself, you know, a electrical powered X-Acto knife thing. And you'll be able to cut like anything, basically, practically anything. without like using too much force or anything like that. Like it'll be simple. Like what's a great example? Um, like a piece of cardboard. Like that's like 17 points, like a piece of cardstock. Um, who knows? You might even be able to use it to brand stuff to draw, like on wood. By powering up the X-Acto knife. But then you guys would also have to consider the fact that it gets hot. So any like the little thing that that you adjust to make it tighter or looser, that's going to get very hot and the plastic around it will get melted. So someone would have to really like come up with an idea to do all that safely and all that. But there's already probably electrical knives out there, but yeah, when I did that project the other day, and I had the heat gun pointed at the fabric, and I was using just a regular um, pocket knife, a box cutter to cut the material. It was just cutting, and I wasn't even using any force whatsoever. Just boom, and it was cut, just like that, like butter, like cutting butter, like because if you guys do it when it's super cold, you have to do a couple scores. It's not very difficult, but yeah, I just thought to share this with everyone. And if you guys want something, if you guys really need something like that in a desperate time, then technically you guys can connect something on the end of that fucking glue gun, and you guys could even weld it together. But I don't know how effective that would be. Maybe with like a small scale welder for like little projects like that, it might work. And like I said, those little glue gun sticks things are only $1. So if you guys out there really needed something like that in a desperate time, and you had all the tools to make it work, then you guys can connect just about any type of adapter in the front of it, and even pry it off with some clamps, with a clamp to, or some pliers to like wiggle it off and snap it off and attach a new one. But other than that, yeah, I just wanted to share that, and I really wanted to get this off my mind again as well, because that can easily be turned into a graph. And it is instructionally it is. But by providing these numbers, it will be kind of easier to remember. Because I had to like think about all that. And then there was leftover, and because it says remove like 8 or 9 inches from each one, right? But like once you cut the first, second, and third one, then you go to the fourth and fifth. And the fourth and fifth, there's little strips left over. So you have to calculate okay, if I remove, you know, 8 times 5, what is the remainder? And then that's how you get, um, 7 or 15 according to the graph, because that's what is remaining. I mean, that's what 4 and 5 require. It requires a 16 or 15 inch and or a 7 and possibly an 8-inch shingle to to complete that pattern. So that's why I took the time to like write on this. And you know, regardless if someone really does that or not, it's not going to really like make a difference, I don't think. But I think it will just make everyone's life easier, especially for a beginner. Because I just learned this. This is my second time ever working on a roof. The first time was with at my friend's house, the actual house, and then the other one was the second time was the shed. So I got some experience, and yeah. And then my friend gave me these instructions to follow. So I was really looking at them and making sure that I was following them thoroughly. And I think I did a good job. But obviously, I mean, anyways, that's all I really wanted to say and talk about. So I don't know if this has any relevance to anything, to heat knives or roof shingles, but nonetheless, God bless everyone.